Writing on the Wall is a month-long festival of events, literary events, debates, discussions, film, theatre. In conversations, we bring major names from around the world to Liverpool, and we also involve a lot of people from local communities in writing projects and launching their own writing. We began in the year 2000, so this year will be our 16th festival. We began as a small 5-day festival, really trying to link communities together with great writers from around the world and engage people in new writing. Since then, we've developed into a month-long festival, and we do the same thing but on a much bigger scale, and we run projects right throughout the year. We're different than a lot of other literary festivals because our aim really is to promote new writing, to engage people in creative activity and to give people a voice. In the festival, we have film, theatre, book launches, discussions, debates and panels, and things that can really kind of get people excited, get people talking, get people engaged. We do dance, you know, this year we've got an event where we're going to be having dance lessons before the event. So really quite exciting things, slightly different, and particularly with the aim of encouraging people to come along, get involved in cultural activity, get involved in writing, get involved in discussion and debate. We have workshops. We've been running projects throughout the year called What's Your Story? And they are creative writing projects that aim to get people engaging with other people and finding a way to express themselves. And for all of these projects, we publish a book of the work of the writers. In the past year, we probably published 50 writers in new chapters of the work, in poems and short stories. And in the festival, we have showcases where they can come along and share their work with their family, their friends and the public. Our ethos covers quite a lot of ground, really. I suppose to sum it up, it's about engaging diverse communities, and that goes from the black community in the city to women, to young people, and to bring them together, but also to give them a way to work together within their communities, to express themselves, to write, to discuss ideas, and to bring them out to the public. And it's about really human voices, you know, so that people can see the people within the communities. And then different communities are encouraged to come together and come forward. We've run a number of projects, and one that we're launching this year is called From the Great War to Race Riots. And we were given an archive of material from black seamen and sailors and workers who were left destitute in Liverpool after the First World War. And so we're using that as a project for people to partly trace the family histories, to look at the stories of these people who were stranded and explore the social and political and cultural context of that time, which was around about 1920 to 22. So sometimes we use historic projects to explore contemporary events and ideas as well. So we're quite creative in our approach as to what creative writing is. A lot of groups will just, you know, which is very good, but will sit and have groups that, you know, just do a general creative writing. We do that as well. But sometimes we'll pick up on themes and we will use them to work with communities to explore their own history as well. One of the founding principles of Writing on the Wall is a belief that engagement in creative activity, particularly creative writing, can have a transformative effect upon people and communities. It adds to their well-being, it helps them to engage with people, and it finds ways for them to express themselves. We've seen a direct impact of that with people coming back to us from the groups that we work with, telling us how it's transformed their lives. We had a woman who worked on a creative writing project we did with Mental Health Consortium, who said to us that before the writing project, she was in effect a hermit. She hardly came out of the house. And this has really engaged her, firstly by weekly workshops and then by going out and speaking to new audiences. So that's the type of impact that we aim to have, that we believe creative writing can have, and feedback indicates that that is working.
The festival is themed American Dreams, and that is because it's the 175th anniversary of the establishment of the Cunard shipping line. And the City of Liverpool and many of the arts and cultural organisations are going to be part of a huge celebration. So on the bank holiday weekend, the last bank holiday weekend in May, there will be 3 Cunard ships, the 3 Queens, coming into the port of Liverpool. And then on the 4th of July, the Queen Mary will also be in dock. And between those dates, there's going to be a huge cultural programme celebrating everything Cunard, everything American. And the Writing on the Wall Festival, which begins on the 1st of May, is really a precursor to that. So we've themed our festival American Dreams, and we've brought over some fantastic people from the States to explore the cultural links that exist. So this year's festival theme is American Dreams, to reflect the celebrations, the Cunard celebrations, but as is the WOW tradition, to explore perhaps darker realities of that so-called dream and different aspects of American life and American culture. So our festival launches on the 1st, and we are bringing over a very talented young hip-hop violinist who's also a spoken word artist. His name is Shayshawn McPherson. He's going to be performing on the 1st, but at events throughout the festival. So he'll be performing on Light Night on the roof of the library with our young people. We've also got a very exciting day called Strictly Harlem, which will take place on the 9th of May, and that's an all-day and night event at the Blackie. We'll have dance classes, Lindy Hop classes actually. We'll be exploring the work of a great crime writer, Chester Himes, and then we've got an extravaganza of a show really with Lem Sisse, Selena Godden, some local artists, Teo Aluku, and a poet called Malik. So that's going to be a fantastic night. We're also bringing a writer over called Ryan Gattis, who has written a book on the LA riots, and he's going to be appearing in Waterstones. And then our festival will then merge into the celebrations for the One Magnificent City. We have a play on for 2 weeks called The Morrie, which has been written by my co-director, Mike Morris. He's adapted the play from a short story by a Liverpool seafarer called George Garrett, and that's going to be taking place in the basement of the Cunard building. And then on the 2nd of July, we will be joined by America's most celebrated crime writer, Walter Mosley, who's flying over literally to be with us for One Magnificent City and the WOW Festival.
We use a theme every year, and this year it's American Dreams, to kind of encapsulate what's happening with the festival and linking it to other events. But every festival we have a series of very eclectic events that take place right throughout the month. And this year we have the former lead singer with Everything But the Girl, Tracy Thorn. She's going to be doing an In Conversation on her new book, Naked, at the Albert Hall. We have an event that's very contemporary, very current, which is called Pitch Black, the story of black British footballers, which is the launch of a new book, which is interviews with black British footballers right throughout the years. And that's going to have footballers there who are going to talk about their experiences as well. We then have an event called Thick as Thieves, Governed by Deceit, which is looking at the government and the establishment. And that's a writer called Owen Jones, who's a very popular commentator. He's written a book about the establishment and how they've been getting away with it. So that should be good fun. Quite a good debate around that. There's lots of issues, I think, people, and particularly with the general election happening, that comes after the general election. So it should be very interesting, reflecting upon what happens then. And then we also have our Pulp Bible competition, where we're going to be hopefully launching brand new authors and putting them on the path to publication competition. The festival begins on Friday the 1st of May and it runs right through to the 28th of May for the May events. We then have a series of events taking place in June. We have a play on called The Morrie, based upon the writing of a writer from the 1920s called George Garrett. We have our flash fiction competition, which this year is called The Killing Pool and is about crime. And then we have the writer Walter Mosley that Madeline mentioned earlier.